Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to the session and also welcome to another session of top MCQ series where we are going to discuss again most important MCQs of the economics component for your upcoming SEBI and NPS examination. So this is going to be the session number 7th for the economics component. Before that we have covered six sessions and I hope you have gone through it. If not, then please go through it because the concepts that we are discussing here, they are very, very important and they have a very high probability of being asked in the examination. तो यहाँ पर काफी इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट्स हैं, जो भी कंसेप्ट्स हम कवर कर रहे हैं, बिलीव मी मेनी क्वेश्चंस यू वुड बी फाइंडिंग इन द एक्चुअल एग्जामिनेशन, सो डू नॉट मिस इट. ठीक है, इवन इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू वॉच इन द लाइव फॉर्मेट, आप इसको रिकॉर्डेड फॉर्मेट में देख लीजिए, बट द थिंग इज देखिए जरूर बिकॉज दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट द डिस्कशन गाइस. Before without wasting time here, first of all, you know that we discuss achievers question here. That is the homework question of the previous session, and those who give the right answer, their name is reflected in the next session. So the question of the previous session was, which of the following is a component of contractionary monetary policy used by the Reserve Bank of India to reduce inflation? Options are decreasing the repo rate, purchasing government securities, reducing the reserve ratio, that is CRR and the SLR, increasing the repo rate and lowering interest rates. So tell me, even if you have not answered earlier, you can answer it now only in the chat box. So do let me know, read the question carefully. We are talking about the contractionary monetary policy. बताइए आपके हिसाब से contractionary monetary policy के लिए कौन सा एक्शन यहाँ पर RBI जो है वो लेगा? So right answer is option number D, that is increasing the repo rate. क्योंकि यहाँ पर अगर हम repo rate को डिक्रीज करेंगे, so ultimately in order to control the inflation, RBI क्या करता है, इन्फ्लेशन को रिड्यूस करने के लिए RBI takes the contractionary monetary policy, right? So if RBI decreases the repo rate, that will lead to बेसिकली यहाँ पर क्या हो जाएगा, यहाँ पर जो लिक्विडिटी है वो बढ़ जाएगी सिस्टम में, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ विच जो यहाँ पर इन्फ्लेशन है और बढ़ेगा. देन परचेजिंग गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज, इसकी वजह से भी लिक्विडिटी बढ़ेगी. यहाँ पे अगर CRR और SLR को कम किया जाता है, इसमें से भी लिक्विडिटी बढ़ेगी. यहाँ पे अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट्स कम होते हैं तो ऑब्वियसली एवरीवन वुड डिमांड, एंड इफ डिमांड वुड बी हायर इन द इकोनॉमी, सो दे विल मेक डिमांड बढ़ेगी तो यहाँ पे प्राइसेस भी साथ साथ में बढ़ेंगे. तो इंक्रीज इन द रेपो रेट इज द ओनली ऑप्शन हियर व्हिच विल लीड टू डिक्रीज इन द इन्फ्लेशन इन द इकोनॉमी, right? And that is why option number D is the right answer. Now who have given the right answer guys? So यहाँ पे Rajneesh Kumar has given the right answer, that is option number D here. So congratulations Rajneesh, that you have mentioned the right answer, you have attempted it correctly. And guys, if you want to see your name here, अगर आप अपना नाम देखना चाहते हैं, then for that you need to attempt the achievers question correctly. So also in this session we have a last question of achievers question, so even if you attempt that, so your name will be reflected in the next session. तो अगर आप अपना नाम देखना चाहते हैं यहाँ पर, then do attempt the achievers question guys. ठीक है रजनीश, very well done, congratulations. Now moving ahead, let's start the today's discussion. So question number first is, the marginal standing facility is a scheme announced by the RBI in its monetary policy 2011-12. What does the MSF refer to? Options are the regular rate at which banks can borrow money from the RBI through the repo mechanism, the rate at which banks can deposit their surplus funds with the RBI, the penal rate at which banks can borrow money from the RBI over and above what is available through the LAF window, the rate at which the RBI buys government securities from the banks, or the rate at which banks lend to each other overnight. Yes, बताइए guys, what is the right answer? आपके हिसाब से यहाँ पर सही आंसर क्या है? We are talking about the marginal standing facility. So right answer is option number C, that is the penal rate at which banks can borrow money from the RBI over and above what is available through the LAF window. Suppose commercial banks have exhausted all their limits, so after that they can approach the Reserve Bank of India for having additional funds under the marginal standing facility, and hence option number C is the right answer. Question number second is, which of the following statements correctly describes the MSF in relation to the repo rate and borrowing options for banks? ठीक है, चलिए. So options are, MSF is fixed below the repo rate and is used before the liquidity adjustment facility. Then MSF is fixed at the same rate as the repo rate and is used after the liquidity adjustment facility. MSF is fixed above the repo rate and is the last resort for banks once all other borrowing options are exhausted, including the liquidity adjustment facility. MSF is unrelated to the repo rate and is used for daily banking operations, or MSF is a facility that allows banks to lend money to the RBI at a higher rate than the repo rate. So according to you, what can be the right answer, guys? Tell me. You all have to participate here, right? आप सभी को यहाँ पर participate करना है. There is no exception here. कोई भी exception नहीं है यहाँ पर. तो बताइए, what can be the right answer according to you? Yes, Arjun is saying option number C. Option number C is the right answer. That is, MSF is fixed above the repo rate and is the last resort for the banks once all other borrowing options are exhausted, including the liquidity adjustment facility. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे this MSF is 25 basis points higher. यहाँ पे ये 25 basis points higher रहता है. ठीक है जी, from the repo rate. So suppose if repo rate is 6%, so it will be 6.25%. Got it? Question number 3 is, the term bank rate, also referred to as the discount rate, refers to which of the following? Options are the rate at which the central bank lends more money to the general public, the rate at which commercial banks lend to each other overnight, the rate at which the Reserve Bank is ready to buy or rediscount bills of exchange or other commercial papers, the rate at which commercial banks lend to their most credit-worthy customers, or the rate at which the central bank lends money to commercial banks without any collateral. Yes, friends, everyone do let me know what can be the right answer here. So right answer is option number C, that is the rate at which the Reserve Bank is ready to buy or rediscount of bill of exchange or other commercial papers. Yes, Arjun, you have given the right answer. Question number 4 is, how does the alignment of the bank rate with marginal standing facility rate affects its changes? So the bank rate changes independently of the MSF rate and policy repo rate changes. The bank rate is aligned with the MSF rate but does not automatically adjust with the changes in the policy repo rate. The bank rate has been aligned with the MSF rate and therefore changes automatically in accordance with the MSF rate and policy repo rate changes. The bank rate is fixed and does not change even if the MSF rate and policy repo rate change. The bank rate is adjusted based on the interest rates of commercial banks rather than the MSF rate or policy repo rate. Yes, guys, tell me what is the right answer according to you? So Arjun is saying 4th C, right answer is option number C. Very well done, Arjun. So the bank rate has been aligned with the MSF rate. So जब MSF rate change होता है, automatically bank rate changes. ठीक है, bank rate इसके साथ ही aligned होता है. RBI does not need to change it separately. Question number 5 is, which of the following best describes the role of open market operations conducted by the Reserve Bank of India? So options are, open market operations include the borrowings and lending of money by banks to each other to manage short-term liquidity. Open market operations involve the central bank setting the interest rates for commercial banks to control inflation. Open market operations include both outright purchase and sale of government securities by the RBI used for injecting and absorbing durable liquidity respectively. Open market operations involve the central bank providing emergency funds to bank in distress situations, or open market operations are limited to the regulation of the reserve requirements for commercial banks. So what is the right answer here? Arjun is saying option number C. Right answer is option number C. Yes, open market operations include both outright purchase and sale of government securities by the RBI used for injecting and absorbing durable liquidity. So in order to inject the liquidity, RBI uses the open market operations in which RBI purchases and sells the government securities. Question number 6 is, what is the effect of the RBI purchasing securities on the economy as a part of open market operation? So if RBI is purchasing security as a part of open market operation, so what shall be the effect of this exercise? Options are, it reduces the money supply and decreases demand in the economy. It increases the money supply leading to more demand and potentially higher economic growth. It stabilizes the money supply without affecting demand or economic growth. it only affects the interest rates without altering the overall money supply, or it leads to the decrease in income in economic growth by withdrawing money from the market. So what is the right answer, guys? Question number 6, tell me. We are discussing here that if RBI is purchasing securities as a part of open market operations, so Arjun is saying option number C. Option number B is the right answer. That is, it increases the money supply, leading to more demand and potentially higher economic growth. Why? Because now RBI is purchasing government securities, which means in consideration RBI would be injecting money into the system, right? And if money will be injected, that will increases the money supply, leading to more demand. People will have easy access to money, they will more demand and potentially higher economic growth. So whenever RBI is focusing on economic growth as an objective of the monetary policy, then in that case RBI starts purchasing the government securities as a part of open market operations, because that leads to increase in the money supply, leading to more demand and potentially higher economic growth, right? Question number 7 is, which of the following best describes the relationship between repo and the reverse repo operations? Options are, both operations aim to increase liquidity in the banking system. Repo operations involve banks borrowing from the money, while reverse repo operations involve banks depositing funds with the RBI. Both operations are exclusively used for managing foreign exchange reserves. Repo operations involve the RBI depositing money with the banks, while reverse repo operations involve the RBI borrowing from banks, and none of the above. Yes, guys, tell me. What can be the correct explanation? Arjun is saying option number B. Guys, you all have to participate. Right answer is option number B. Repo operation involve bank borrowing from the Reserve Bank of India. So when banks are borrowing from the RBI as a part of repo, so that is a repo repurchase option. In the case of reverse repo operation, basically that leads to banks deposits their excess fund, or you can say banks park their excess fund with the Reserve Bank of India. Question number 8 is, what is the primary effect of a reverse repo operation on the banking system? Options are, it increases the liquidity in the system, it absorbs the liquidity in the system, it has no impact on the liquidity in the system, it creates more money in circulation, and it reduces the interest rates in the system. So what is the correct explanation here? We are talking about the primary effect of reverse repo operation. Yes, guys, tell me, what is the right answer? So right answer is, Arjun is saying option number B. Right answer is option number B. It absorbs the liquidity in the system, because ultimately as a part of reverse repo operation, what happens that banks start depositing their funds with the Reserve Bank of India for the sake of having higher interest rates. In that case, what could happen? That lead to absorption of the liquidity in the system. Question number 9 is, what does a high reverse repo rate imply for banks? Options are, banks will only lend money to borrowers, banks will only park their money with the Reserve Bank of India, banks will not park their money with the RBI, banks may either park their money with the RBI or lend at a higher rate to borrowers, banks will reduce their overall lending activities. Yes, so what is the right answer, guys? What does the high reverse repo rate imply for banks? So right answer is option number D here. That is, bank may either park their money with RBI or lend at a higher rate to borrowers. Now Arjun is saying option number B. Arjun is saying option number B. That is, banks will only park their money with the RBI. No, that is not compulsory, right? If banks are getting you can say very good interest, if banks are getting very good deal with the borrower, so then obviously they can give they can give the loan to the public itself, right? So they have two options available. Either they may park their fund with the RBI, or they can lend to the public at a higher rate to borrowers, right? Question number 10 is, what is the standing deposit facility rate? Options are, the rate at which the RBI, that is Reserve Bank, lends money to commercial banks without collateral. The rate at which the Reserve Bank accepts uncollateralized deposits from all LAF participants on an overnight basis. The rate at which commercial banks accept uncollateralized deposit from the public. The rate at which the Reserve Bank provides long-term loans to the government, or none of the above. Yes, guys, tell me, what is the meaning of standing deposit facility here? So right answer is option number B, that is the rate at which the Reserve Bank accepts uncollateralized deposits from all LAF participants on an overnight basis. So basically in April 2022 SDF had replaced the reverse repo operation, ठीक है, वहां पे इसने रिप्लेस किया था. बट इन दिस केस व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, आरबीआई इज एक्सेप्टिंग द डिपॉजिट्स बट दैट इज अनकोलेटरलाइज्ड. इफ यू सी द रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन, सो अंडर दैट कोलेटरलाइज्ड डिपॉजिट इज देयर, व्हिच मींस आरबीआई नीडेड टू कीप द कोलेटरल विद द बैंक्स whom RBI is accepting the deposits. But now in this case of SDF, what is happening, that RBI is accepting the deposits and that is too uncollateralized. Got it? Question number 11th, how does the CRR help in controlling inflation? Cash reserve ratio. Options are by increasing government spending, by reducing interest rates, by lowering import duties, by increasing the amount of money banks must hold in reserve, or by subsidizing exports. So how does the CRR help in controlling inflation? What is the right answer, guys? Tell me. So right answer is option number D, that is by increasing the amount of money banks must hold in reserve. So what is cash reserve ratio? Basically what is happening कि यहाँ पे bank needs to keep a percentage of net demand and time liabilities with the Reserve Bank of India. So if RBI is increasing that percentage, then in that case what would happen? Banks need to keep more funds with the RBI as in compliance with the cash reserve ratio, which means they will be left with a very small amount of fund. So basically what will happen, that will lead to the decreased liquidity in the system, and that will lead to higher interest rates in the economy. If interest rates are going up, then in that case people like you and me, lakh and crores of people will start demanding less, and because of which prices will come down. So this is how inflation will be controlled through the CRR. Question number 12 is, how can the cash reserve ratio help in boosting growth? Options are by increasing import tariffs, by reducing government subsidies, by lowering the cash reserve ratio, allowing banks to lend more, by implementing stricter tax policies, by increasing the reserve requirements for foreign exchange. Yes, how CRR help in boosting growth? So Rajvardhan is saying option number C. So right answer is option number C, that is by lowering the CRR, allowing banks to lend more. So in case if RBI reduces the CRR, which means now banks do not need to keep banks need to keep lesser funds with the Reserve Bank of India in compliance of CRR. In that case, banks are having more funds to lend to the public. In that case, what would happen? If they are having more funds, then in that case interest rates will go down, and in that case demand will go up, and that will lead to increase the production in the economy, and increased production is nothing but the boosting growth, right? Question number 13 is, what is the statutory liquidity ratio? Options are the ratio of a bank's foreign reserves to its total deposits, the ratio of a bank's loan to its total assets, the ratio of a bank's liquid assets to its NDTL held by banks, the ratio of a bank's fixed deposit to its current accounts, or the ratio of a bank's gold reserves to its total loans. So what is the correct description of statutory liquidity ratio? So Rajvardhan is saying option number C. Yes guys, what about others? Yes, option number C is the right answer. That is, SLR is the ratio of a bank's liquid asset to the NDTL. That is the amount, the percentage of NDTL which banks have to keep with themselves only. Question number 14th is, how can the statutory liquidity ratio help in controlling inflation? How can the SLR help in controlling inflation? Options are by reducing import tariffs, by increasing government spending, by lowering the interest rates on saving accounts, by requiring banks to hold a higher percentage of their deposits in liquid assets, or by increasing the number of bank branches. Tell me guys, what is the right answer according to you for question number 14th? So right answer is option number D, that is by requiring banks to hold a higher percentage of their deposits in the liquid assets. Yes, Rajvardhan, you have given the right answer. Question number 15th is, what is repo? That is repurchase option in the context of banking referred to. Options are A long-term loan given by commercial banks to the government, a tool used by banks to invest in foreign exchange markets, a collateralized lending arrangement where banks borrow money from the RBI by selling securities with an agreement to repurchase them, a method used by the RBI to control the exchange rate of the rupee, or a fixed deposit scheme offered by the commercial banks to the customers. So what is the correct explanation here? What is the correct explanation, guys? Do let me know. 15th, Rajvardhan is saying option number C. Option number C is the right answer, that it is a collateralized lending arrangement where banks borrow money from the RBI by selling securities with an agreement to repurchase them. It is also known as repurchase option. So what is being repurchased here? Government securities which banks sell at the time of taking loan, they repurchase them once the repayment of loan is done. Question number 16 is, what does the high repo rate signal in the context of banking? Options are, banks will have more funds available for lending, banks will reduce interest rates on loans, access to money is expensive for banks leading to lesser credit flow into the system, banks will increase their investment in foreign assets, or banks will decrease their reserve requirements. Bataiye, if there is a high repo rate in the economy, then what does that signal to? So Rajvardhan is saying option number C. Option number C is the right answer. That is, access to money is expensive for the bank, because ultimately high repo rate means, which if any commercial bank is taking loan from the Reserve Bank of India, then that bank needs to pay higher interest rates, right? So access to money will become expensive for the banks, leading to lesser credit flow into the system. So bank will avoid taking loan from the Reserve Bank of India, and that will lead to lesser credit flow into the system. Question number 17 is saying, when the Reserve Bank of India takes actions that decrease the money supply in the economy, which of the following outcome is likely to occur? Options are, increased consumer spending, higher inflation rates, lower interest rates, reduced investment and economic slowdown, or greater availability of credit. Yes, guys, tell me, what is the right answer here? So Rajvardhan is saying option number D, that is reduced investment and economic slowdown. Yes, right answer is this only, because ultimately if money supply is decreasing in the economy, that will lead to higher interest rates, and that will lead to lowering of demand, right? Because ultimately if loan is becoming expensive, then in that case what will happen? That will lead to reduced investment, and if investment is going down, then in that case economic slowdown may occur. Question number 18 is, under the present monetary policy framework agreement, the RBI will be responsible for containing inflation target at which of the following? Options are, 4% with a standard deviation of 0.5%, 6% with a standard deviation of 1%, 4% with a standard deviation of 1%, 4% with a standard deviation of 2%, or 2% with a standard deviation of 4%. So what is the current inflation target, guys, which is valid till 31st of March 2026? Before that, government would be changing it for the next 5 years. So Rajvardhan is saying option number D. So option number D is the right answer. That is 4% with a standard deviation of 2%. That is 4% plus minus 2%. Question number 19 is, in the context of monetary policy committee of the RBI, which of the following statement is not correct, right? Which means, which is the incorrect statement here? So options are, the MPC has 6 members. The central government nominees of the MPC appointed by the Search Cum Selection Committee will hold office for a period of 4 years and will not be eligible for reappointment. RBI Act prohibits appointing any member of parliament or legislature or public servant or any employee, board, committee member of the RBI or anyone with a conflict of interest with RBI or anybody above the age of 70 to the MPC. Quorum for a meeting shall be 4 members, or RBI has to organize at least 3 meetings of the MPC in a year. So which statement is incorrect, guys, right? Read the question carefully. We are talking about the incorrect statement. So which is not correct here? So right answer is option number E, that is RBI has to organize at least 3 meetings. No, RBI has to organize at least 4 meetings, right? So 4 meetings is required at least here. Question number 20th is, how does monetary policy help in controlling inflation? Options are, by increasing government spending, by reducing taxes on goods and services, by adjusting the interest rates and controlling the money supply, by imposing tariff rates, trade tariffs and quotas, or by subsidizing essential commodities. So Rajvardhan is saying option number C. So yes, option number C is correct. That is by adjusting the interest rates and the controlling money supply in the economy. the monetary policy help in controlling inflation. Got it? So option number C is the right answer here. Now, this is the achievers question, guys, which you do not need to answer in the chat box. Rather, you have to answer it in the comment box, and those who will be giving the right answer, their name will be reflected in the next session. The question is, RBI is considered to be the lender of the last resort. This implies which of the following? Options are RBI advances money to the central government whenever there is an emergency. RBI advances money to the public whenever there is an emergency. RBI advances necessary credit against eligible securities to financial institutions. All of the above or none of the above. Right. So you have to tell me in the comment box, not in the live chat box, and those who will be giving the right answer, their name will be reflected in the next session. So guys, as you are aware that RBI had increased the vacancies for the general stream. Originally 56 vacancies were notified in the original notification. Later on RBI had revised it to 77, and which is very, very important, and you can say that is a golden opportunity. So if you are interested, guys, so you can start preparing for SEBI if you haven't started it, or even if you have started it but you are looking for a mentorship program, so you can join our crash course which we have launched here, in which you will get live classes, notes, MCQs, then further full length mocks, one-to-one mentorship and whatnot. Each and everything you will get as a part of this course. The link is given in the description. I will tell you separately how to enroll for the course. Secondly, guys, if you are preparing for other examinations also, along with SEBI, if you are preparing for RBI, NABARD, PFRD, SEDB, IFSCA, IRDI, NPS, ECGC, etc. So you are not supposed to subscribe separate courses for separate examination. Simply you can have the access of regulatory body exam super pack. If you are having the access of super pack, through this what will happen, you will be able to access all these courses: RBI, SEBI, NABARD, PFRD, SEDB, IFSC, IRDI, NPS, ECGC, etc. So यहाँ पे सारे कोर्सेज आपको, सारे एग्जाम्स आपको एक सिंगल कोर्स में मिल जाएंगे, विच मींस जहां पर आप 10 अलग अलग कोर्सेज लेकर 10x कॉस्ट बियर करने वाले थे, वहां सिर्फ और सिर्फ 10% कॉस्ट में आप इन सारे एग्जाम्स की प्रिपरेशन साइमल्टेनियसली कर सकते हो, और आपको करना भी चाहिए, बिकॉज देयर इज अ ह्यूज ओवरलैप ऑफ द सिलेबस. आप ऑलरेडी एक एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन करेंगे तो अदर एग्जाम्स के लिए 60, 70, 80, 90, इवन 99% तक आप रेडी हो जाते हैं. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर सेबी, तो पीएफआरडी, एनपीएस के लिए आप 100% प्रिपेयर्ड है, एक्सेप्ट द स्मॉल कंपोनेंट ऑफ पेंशन. बाकी ईच एंड एवरीथिंग इज सेम. सो इसी तरीके से देयर इज अ ह्यूज ओवरलैप. सो अलग अलग एग्जाम के लिए अलग अलग कोर्सेज ना लेकर यू कैन सिंपली हैव द रेगुलेटरी बॉडी सुपर पैक. नाउ हाउ टू एनरोल इट, गाइस? तो अगर आप यहाँ पे फोकस कर रहे हैं कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ सेबी देना है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सेबी यू आर नॉट सपोज्ड टू अपीयर इन एनी एग्जामिनेशन, देन गो फॉर द सेबी क्रैश कोर्स. फिर तो आप सेबी क्रैश कोर्स के लिए जाइए. बट इफ यू आर लुकिंग फॉर द कोर्स जहां पर आप अलग अलग एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन करना चाहते हैं, देन आई वुड सजेस्ट गो फॉर द रेगुलेटरी बॉडी सुपर पैक. हाउ टू एनरोल इट, गाइस? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लिंक इज गिवन इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन, उसके थ्रू जा सकते हैं, या सेपरेटली आप टेक्स्टबुक.com पर विजिट कर सकते हैं. सो लेट मी शो यू हाउ. सिंपली गूगल में टाइप करिए टेक्स्ट बुक, फर्स्ट नंबर का लिंक इज अवर वेबसाइट. ठीक है, वहां पर आप जाएंगे, क्लिक, देन यहाँ पे सुपर कोचिंग टॉप में आपको दिख रहा होगा, क्लिक ऑन सुपर कोचिंग, देन लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे यू विल सी मल्टीपल एग्जामिनेशन आपको देखने के लिए मिल जाएंगे. सो यू हैव टू क्लिक ऑन द रेगुलेटरी बॉडी एग्जाम्स, राइट? यहाँ पे आपको क्लिक करना है. आफ्टर दैट यू कैन सी मल्टीपल एग्जाम्स, मल्टीपल कोर्सेज आर देयर. यहाँ पे आपको जाना है रेगुलेटरी बॉडी एग्जाम सुपर पैक में. अगर आप रेगुलेटरी बॉडी एग्जाम सुपर पैक के लिए इंटरेस्टेड है, तो अगर आप सिर्फ सेबी के लिए इंटरेस्टेड है, तो आप यहाँ पर सेबी के इस वाले कोर्स में जा सकते हैं. ठीक है. अगर आप आरबीआई सेबी के लिए इंटरेस्टेड है, देन आप आरबीआई प्लस सेबी के लिए भी जा सकते हैं. ठीक है, सेबी प्लस आरबीआई का कॉम्बो भी है. सो दैट इज अप टू यू. बट फॉर एग्जांपल कि आप रेगुलेटरी बॉडी एग्जाम सुपर पैक के लिए जा रहे हैं, ठीक है, तो यू हैव टू क्लिक ऑन दिट. प्रोसेस विल रिमेन सेम फॉर अक्रॉस ऑल द कोर्सेज. आपको इसके बाद स्क्रॉल डाउन करना है, यू विल गेट सारी इंफॉर्मेशन. आपको स्क्रॉल डाउन करना है, हियर यू कैन सी लिस्ट ऑफ द एग्जामिनेशन फर्दर और भी एग्जाम्स इसमें ऐड हो रहे हैं. साथ साथ में फैकल्टीज के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन, यू कैन सी द डेमो क्लासेस आल्सो. आपको सारे फैकल्टीज की डेमो क्लासेस देखने के लिए मिल जाएंगी. देन यू कैन गो थ्रू द ई बुक्स जो आपको प्रोवाइड की जा रही है, सो दैट यू कैन गेट टू नो कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ नोट्स would be provided to you. Then practice questions भी आप यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं. उसके बाद यहाँ पे after going through, if you feel that yes this course is going to help me, then यहाँ पे अलग अलग वैलिडिटी के साथ हमारा सुपर पैक अवेलेबल है. 24 months, 12 months, 6 months. तो यहाँ पर आपकी जो भी वैलिडिटी का कोर्स लेना आप ले सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू आर गोइंग फॉर 12 मंथ के लिए, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर यू कैन सी द प्राइस, बट दिस प्राइस यू आर नॉट सपोज टू पे. आपको यहाँ पर जाना है अप्लाई कूपन पर. उसके बाद जो भी कोड अप्लाइड है, रिमूव इट एंड अप्लाई द कोड प्रकाश. इसको अप्लाई करने के बाद आप यू हैव टू क्लिक ऑन अप्लाई, एंड उसके बाद आपको यहाँ पे देखिए इंस्टेंटली 1500 का डिस्काउंट इंस्टेंटली आपको यहाँ पर मिल गया. ठीक है, राइट. सो एंड उसके बाद यू हैव टू मेक द पेमेंट. यू हैव आल्सो द ईएमआई फैसिलिटी. इसकी हेल्प से आप यहाँ पे ईएमआई में भी पेमेंट कर सकते हैं या फुल पेमेंट भी आप कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू एनरोल फॉर द कोर्स, गाइस. इस तरीके से आप कोर्स में एनरोल कर सकते हैं और प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं. कर सकते हैं। मल्टीपल स्टूडेंट्स हैव ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड द कोर्स, नाउ इट्स योर टर्न। आप कितना जल्दी प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं, क्योंकि अभी एग्जाम और भी आने वाले हैं, अभी एडाई आने वाला है, अभी एनपीएस भी आने वाला है, ठीक है। So guys, this is all with respect to this session, and do not forget to use the code Prakash if you want maximum discount. If not, then ignore this information. And also do join my Telegram group. इसको ज्वाइन करने के बाद you will be in touch with me. बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन मैं यहाँ पर शेयर करता रहता हूँ। साथ ही साथ आपकी कोई क्वेरी है वो भी आप मुझसे यहाँ पर रेज करके डायरेक्टली डिस्कस कर सकते हैं। So thank you very much guys for watching and listening me. This is all. We'll meet you in the next session. Do not forget to answer the achievers question if you want to see your name in the next session. Bye bye guys. Take care.